Commander Zekthar stood before the crystalline display, his four eyes narrowing at the impossible data streaming across the screen. The Varathian Empire had conquered 17 star systems in the past 2 centuries, and their scholars had declared with absolute certainty that they were the first species to achieve interstellar civilization. The evidence was irrefutable. No traces of prior spacefaring races existed anywhere in the known galaxy. Until now. The archaeological team had discovered the structure on Kepler 442b, a planet in the habitable zone of a distant star system. At first, they believed it to be a natural formation, perhaps some quirk of geological processes. But as they excavated deeper into the red soil, the truth became undeniable. This was a facility, ancient and vast, buried beneath millions of years of sediment. Zekthar descended the ramp into the excavation site, his translator device humming softly against his thorax. Dr. Milvana, the expedition's lead xenoarchaeologist, waited at the entrance to the underground complex. Her scales shimmered with barely contained excitement. "Commander, you need to see this," she said, her voice trembling. "Everything we thought we knew about galactic history is wrong." They walked through corridors carved from an alloy that their best scientists couldn't identify. The walls bore markings, symbols that formed patterns both logical and artistic. Emergency lighting strips, somehow still functional after eons, flickered to life as they passed, responding to movement with technology the Varathians had only theorized about. The central chamber took Zekthar's breath away. Massive cylindrical structures lined the walls, each one sealed and labeled with those strange symbols. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, and upon it a data core unlike anything in Varathian archives. "We managed to access some of the files," Milvana explained, approaching a holographic interface. "The translation algorithms are still working on the language, but we've pieced together enough to understand the basics." She activated the display. Images materialized in the air before them, a blue and green world teeming with life. Beings with bilateral symmetry, standing upright on 2 legs with 2 arms and expressive faces. They built cities of metal and glass, sent primitive rockets into space, then sleek ships that pierced the fabric of reality itself. "They called themselves humans," Milvana said softly. "And Commander, they didn't just achieve spaceflight. They built an empire that spanned thousands of systems." Zekthar felt his respiratory spiracles constrict. "That's impossible. Our surveys found no evidence of any prior civilization on this scale." "That's because they disappeared," Milvana replied. She gestured and the hologram shifted, showing stellar maps with thousands of marked systems. According to their records, they existed approximately 300 million years ago. They had mastered faster-than-light travel, artificial gravity, even rudimentary time dilation technology. Their empire lasted for over 50,000 years. The commander studied the maps, comparing them mentally to current Varathian charts. Many of those ancient human colonies were systems the Varathians now controlled. They had been walking on human ruins without ever knowing it. "What happened to them?" Zekthar asked. Milvana's expression darkened. "We're still translating, but it appears they encountered something. An enemy from beyond the galactic rim. The records call it the Silence. Whatever it was, the humans fought it for centuries. They built weapons that could crack planets, ships that could move fleets across the galaxy in moments. But it wasn't enough." She brought up another display showing what appeared to be a final message. The translation was crude, but the meaning was clear. "To whoever finds this, we are humanity, and we have failed. The Silence cannot be stopped, only delayed. We have seeded facilities like this one across the galaxy, preserving our knowledge, our history, our genetic code. Perhaps in the deep future, when the Silence has moved on, another species will rise. Perhaps you will succeed where we could not. We leave you our legacy, our mistakes, and our hope. Remember us. Learn from us. Do better than we did." The chamber fell silent. Zekthar felt the weight of 300 million years pressing down on him. The Varathians, so proud of their achievements, were children playing in the ruins of giants. "The cylindrical structures," he said quietly. "What are they?" "Genetic archives," Milvana answered. "Preserved samples of human DNA, along with detailed instructions for cloning and accelerated growth. They left behind everything needed to bring their species back." She paused. "Commander, there are thousands of these facilities. We've already detected similar energy signatures on 17 other worlds in our territory alone. Zekthar approached one of the cylinders, placing his clawed hand against its smooth surface. Inside, frozen in time, was the genetic blueprint of a species that had ruled the stars when his own ancestors were still single-celled organisms in primordial seas. What do we do? Milovana asked. Do we report this to the High Council? Do we attempt to revive them? The commander was quiet for a long moment, considering the implications. The Varathians had built their empire on the assumption that they were pioneers, the first to unite the stars under a single banner. But they were merely inheritors, walking a path that had been cleared long ago by beings who had faced challenges they couldn't imagine. We report everything, Zekthar said finally, and we study these archives. If the silence still exists, if it returns. He looked at the human data core, its ancient light still pulsing steadily. Then perhaps we'll need humanity's help once more. As they left the chamber, the emergency lights dimmed behind them, preserving power for whatever future awaited. In the darkness, the cylinders hummed softly, keeping their precious cargo safe, waiting for the day when humanity might walk among the stars again. The Varathians had believed they were the first space empire. Now they knew the truth. They were simply the latest, standing on the shoulders of those who had come before, hoping they would prove worthy of the legacy they had inherited.